all in this media center of MMDU. Today we have selected a topic for your convenience, that is fertilizer use efficiency. Myself, Professor Dr. Farooq from Department of Agriculture. As all of you know that living organisms require nutrients for their well-being, growth and other metabolic activities. For their survival, they follow the mode of nutrition in the form of food, in the form of different nutrients, micronutrients, and we the human beings, they are completely dependent, including our animals, they are completely dependent on animals for their food and nutrients. And plants in turn, they have an autotrophic mode of nutrition, where they prepare their own food and obtain their nutrients by the process of photosynthesis. And the soil, if the soil is not fertile, if our soil is not having enough of nutrients in the form of different fertilizers or organic manures, then the insufficient quantity of these nutrients will definitely affect on the plant growth and in turn production. And there, when the human beings will take that food which will be deficient in certain nutrients, automatically there will be a hidden hunger among the human beings as well as animals also. So, manures and fertilizers, all the alternatives used in agriculture for the nutrition of the crops. And so far the importance of these fertilizers is concerned. Fertilizers are substances containing chemical elements that improve the growth of plants, they give nutrition to the crops. Second, they do not assist in increasing the yields, but also they promote healthy growth and development of plants by different processes. They contain nitrogen, which acts as growth booster in the form of urea. When we apply this urea containing nitrogen, it definitely gives a boost to the crop and is characterized by the green color of the plants. And that green color or that green pigment of the plant leaves helps in turn in the photosynthesis of the plants, by which we get better production. Similarly, one more important nutrient is phosphorus, and this is the substance which aids in the faster formation of seeds and root development. And one more important micronutrient is that is potash, and the potash ensures the proper maturation of the plant, maturation of the crop by improving essential and overall health to the plants, roots, and gives a strength against the diseases, against the disease resistance and in other affairs. So, in order to maximize the benefits from these manures and fertilizers, they should be applied in proper time and in right manner. If there will be a fault in applying or in the application of these nutrients, whether there are different methods that I will elaborate later on, or the timing for application of these nutrients will not be proper, definitely they will be in loss and they will create the environmental pollution which will affect our productivity as well as environment. And different soils react differently with the fertilizer application, because certain soils are acidic, certain are alkaline, certain are having some other problems. So, every time when we apply the nutrients, we have to consider the soil profile, we have to consider the conditions of the soil, in which soil I am going to apply which fertilizer and at what time. Similarly, NPK requirements of different crops are different, and even for a single crop, the nutrient requirements are not the same at different stages of growth, because plant passes its cycle through different growth stages, and at one stage the amount of the nutrients is required in more quantity than at the other stage. So, one should know the proper stage of the crops when he should apply these fertilizers. These fertilizers are available in solid, granules, and are fully soluble or partially soluble, and these are available also in liquid forms. The modes of application of these solid and liquid fertilizers differs from each other. Say, I will convey you this, that once you go for the application of solid fertilizers, there are different methods of applying it into the soil. Number one is broadcasting, a common way of application of fertilizers, especially in dense crops. And then this broadcasting can further be bifurcated into two things, that is basal application and top dose application. Similarly, placement of fertilizers, when you place these fertilizers at plough side, the placement will be called as plough site or plough sole, this placement, or sometimes deep placement or localized placement. And similarly, one more method of application is band placement, wherein you can go for hill placement or row placement. Similarly, pellet application is there when you apply certain fertilizers in the form of pellets for slow release of these nutrients. That is also one more important thing. So, in order to elaborate the processes in broadcasting, which is a simple method of spreading fertilizers uniformly all over the field, and these are suitable for the crops with dense stand, and whenever you need higher dose of fertilizer, then the mode of application will be completely broadcasting. Similarly, second method is placement. When you place the soil when you place these fertilizers in the soil at specific places in small quantities, that is called placement, and pellet application refers to the placement of these nitrogenous fertilizers in the form of pellets of size 2.5 to 5 centimeters deep between the rows of paddy crop especially, and the fertilizer is mixed with the soil in the ratio of 1:10 and made small pellets of convenient size to deposit in the mud of the paddy fields. Similarly, the most easy method and the most economical method of fertilizer is when you go for liquid fertilization. So, these liquid fertilizers, these are water soluble granular fertilizers and can be applied in different ways. These methods are shown through following classification. So, once you go for this liquid fertilizer application, you have to apply these liquid fertilizers as starter dose or as foliar application or in the form of fertigation, or we have to inject it into the soil, or we have to go for aerial application of these fertilizers. This is a very economical process of applying these fertilizers into the soil. But the question is, the application of these fertilizers to the soil, are we getting full benefit of these nutrients by application, or is there some deficiency, or are we utilizing these fertilizers to the fullest for the production side? So, the answer lies that the fertilizer use efficiency, this arises, this is a new term for you people, that how we can make the application of these fertilizers in efficient way, so that we may not suffer any losses for the crops or for the nutrients what we are applying there. So, the concept is this, that as you know, meeting the societal demands of food as a global challenge, and most of the scientists have surveyed and have estimated that the global crop demand will increase by 100 to 110% from 205 to 250, as it was reported by Tillman et al. 2011. Similarly, others have estimated that the world will need 60% more cereal production between 2000 and 2050. This is reported by Food and Agriculture Organization in 2009. While others also predict that food demand will double within 30 years, and we have an equivalent to maintaining the proportional rate of increase of more than 2.4% per year. So, these challenging data what are before we are challenging all the agriculture scientists, that how to use these fertilizers properly to get a flip in the production system, so that we can demand, we can generate, or we can produce so much of food which is demand from at the global level and at the country level. And the question arises that if on one side we will increase the fertilizer dose, but on the other side there will be some environmental pollution problems, there will be some soil health problems, there will be some production problems also. So, a term has been coined, that is called fertilizer use efficiency, which is nothing but an increase in yield of the harvested crops per unit nutrient supplied by fertilizers. Or in other words, we can define this fertilizer use efficiency, or we can term it also fertilizer use efficiency also can be termed as nutrient use efficiency, which is nothing as it is the biomass productivity per unit fertilizer absorbed from the soil. And fertilizer, as you know, is a vital component of food production. It is important that fertilizer is used efficiently, both to minimize food production cost and conserve the natural resources, because once we will deplete the natural resources, suppose rock phosphate is an important natural resource for the manufacture of these phosphoric fertilizers, if the natural resources will be depleting, a time will come that we cannot afford to manufacture the fertilizers. So, we have to keep an eye on that also. And as you know, in Indian soils, nutrient use efficiency is very low. It varies from 30 to 50% for nitrogen. I can make you understand what does it mean. That means if we are applying urea, which contains 46% of nitrogen, so our crops should get 46% of nitrogen in one run when we will apply 1 kg or 100 kg of urea. But the fertilizer use efficiency has gone down. It is not the case that we will not get 46% out of 46%, but we will get only 30 to 50%. That means only 23% of your nitrogen will be consumed by the crops. So, similarly, in others like phosphorus, there is only 15 to 20% fertilizer use efficiency and 60 to 70% for potassium and 8 to 10% for sulfur and 1 to 2% for micronutrients too. That means there is a great challenge that on one side we are buying the costly fertilizers, second side that we should get much benefit out of the application of these fertilizers, but when we go deeper into this science, we come to the conclusion that the fertilizer efficiency is decreasing, which diminishes our these resources. Rather, financial losses are there, environmental pollution is created, water pollution is created. So, we have to understand how to make this fertilizer use efficiency in ascending order and what measures the agriculture scientists have to take to increase the fertilizer use efficiency. And as you know, under use of fertilizers results in the less crop production, simultaneously overuse of nitrogenous fertilizers have several soil and environmental consequences, as I have indicated earlier. Therefore, new solutions are required to increase the yields with reduced fertilization by increasing the fertilizer use efficiency so that we can utilize our resources in a proper way. And as you know, your mind will be in action this time that how can we improve the fertilizer use efficiency? What are the techniques with us by which we can increase this fertilizer use efficiency and save our resources? And for that very purpose, number one point is this, that you have to adopt the integrated nutrient management system. That means when you will combine the indigenous components like organic manures, crop residues, biological nitrogen fixation, bacteria and chemical fertilization, when you will combine all these things, that means chemical fertilizers, your manures, your these biofertilizers and others, when you will combine these together, definitely you can increase your fertilizer use efficiency. And in simple terms, we may say that the usage of these nutrients from different sources, whether they may be organic or inorganic or biological, once we integrate them, once we apply them together, we can decrease the quantity of these chemical fertilizers, and thereby the result will be increase in fertilizer use efficiency. Similarly, integrated nutrient management interaction of nutrients with several other macro and micronutrients could considerably improve the production and fertilizer use efficiency. And the second thing is that improved fertilizer application. Once you will adopt the improved fertilizer application methods, surely there will be good results for increasing the fertilizer use efficiency. Although we have different methods, as I have indicated just before or at the start of the lecture, we have different methods of application of these nitrogenous fertilizers. Among them, use of large granules, deep placement, and foliar spray of fertilizers can improve the utilization of these fertilizers. Whereas spreading nitrogenous fertilizers, which is a basic process, leads to huge nitrogen loss due to volatilization, due to leaching, and due to other processes by which this is lost in the soil. Second thing, once we adopt the foliar spray system of application, we can improve the fertilizer use efficiency. Number one, it can reduce the quantity of the fertilizer used for the particular crop, or it can reduce the volatilization, denitrification, and immobilization prior being observed by the plants. And this way we can save huge chunk of fertilizers for the farmers. And the technique is placing the mud balls of urea in the reduced zone of puddled rice field has also reported greater nitrogen recovery and thereby increase in the nitrogen use efficiency. Second thing, we have to adopt the modern technology. As you know, when somebody is having some pain in some organ, he is being prescribed by the doctors with certain slow release drugs, so that the persistence or the effect of this drug may increase, and he may not have to utilize the same drug hourly or 2 hourly or 4 hourly or 6 hourly. And similarly, in agriculture, we have developed slow release fertilizers which are released slowly as per the demand of the crop or as per the stage of the crop. And if we have to increase the fertilizer use efficiency, we have to adopt these slow release fertilizers in our fields. And as you know, nitrogen fertilizers containing nitrate are more prone to leaching, whereas nitrogenous fertilizers containing amide and ammonium are more prone to volatilization. So, once we will go for slow release of these nitrogenous fertilizers, it definitely reduces the losses caused by the common method of application like broadcasting and increases the nitrogen recovery and resources, thereby increasing the nitrogen use efficiency. Also, addition of legumes which are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil by the process of natural symbiosis mutual symbiosis, and once we will add these legumes with our cereal crops, which is a traditional practice, it is considered as best measure for increasing the fertilizer use efficiency. Similarly, in modern agriculture, the precision farming is a farming wherein farm inputs are managed in proper management system depending upon the information technology which identifies, analyzes and demonstrates the variability in time and space in agriculture. When I have to go for fertilization, when I have to go for application of irrigation, when I have to go for top dressing, these things are being predicted by artificial intelligence measures for the farmers so that they can precisely use these inputs in a nice way. So, the maximum production and gain saves the resources and protects the environment by this way. By precision farming, we can quantify also the variation in field with respect to nitrogen and apply the exact fertilizers in appropriate quantity at the appropriate time. Similarly, the biggest problem in our environment is the crop residue. Crop residue takes lots of fells on our earth, which creates nuisance, whether these may be the food residues, these may be crop residues, these may be animal residues or any sort of biological residue. We have to think properly for its management so that we can recycle and convert it into useful fertilizer for the farmers. As you know, it has been reported that residues of various cereal crops can supply 40 to 100 kgs per hectare. Nitrogen 40 to 100 kgs per hectare nitrogen in a season, which also increases the soil organic carbon and leads to the improvement of soil health. And one more aspect of increasing this fertilizer use efficiency and diminishing the use of these chemical fertilizers, costly chemical fertilizers, is the adoption of green manuring. Once green manuring legumes we incorporate in the soil, they fix atmospheric nitrogen, as I have already told you, but they should possess some characters like they should be fast growing, they should be of short duration and produce more biomass, fix nitrogen of the atmosphere, and most importantly, with least cultural practices, we can utilize this, and annual nitrogen storage by these legume crops will be from 20 to 300 kgs per hectare. So, my dear friends, wish that you might have understood the challenge that we are having before us, and in future we will also throw light on certain different issues. Till then, thank you very much.